Hello there and a warm welcome to this Android video. And so let's get started. The first step is obviously the installation of Android Studio. Now in order to install Android Studio on your device, you need to go to your browser. Here you can do a search like download Android Studio. You can go to this link which shows developer.android.com/studio/index.html. Now from here you can definitely download this Android Studio. Tick this checkbox, click here to proceed, and we can save this download here. So after the installation process is complete, now here we're going to build our first project. So this is the place we're going to write your application name. So we can write something like button counter. Now this is the application name. Now this name is going to appear beneath the logo of your Android device. Next thing is company domain name. Now company domain name is something which is unique, so if you are having a URL for your website, then you can definitely paste it here. But even if you are not having a URL, you can simply choose a unique name, whichever you prefer. Next thing is project location, the place where our project is going to be saved. Now if you want to include support for C++ and Kotlin, you can tick these check boxes. So let's get started to next. Now this is the place which is most important thing. Now if you want to cover maximum number of users, then you should be choosing API 15. As you can see right down here, if you're going to use API 15, then 100% of devices will be covered. Similarly, you can see that if I choose API 26, then it will cover less than 1% of device. Have a look at this, less than 1% of device. So it depends on what sort of API you are choosing, but it is advisable to keep your API somewhere around 18 to 19, because if you are keeping 18 to 19, then you're going to cover a fair number of devices, and along with it, a number of features would be included too. So that's pretty important to keep your API. Next thing is the wearable and other TV and Android devices. So since we are creating our app only for phone and tablet, so we're not going to tick these check boxes. We're going to move to next, and we are going to choose an activity. That's the most important thing. If you're going to choose an empty activity, then it won't have any other feature. We have to add everything on our own. So let's get started. Now the first activity which is going to open is named as your main activity. This by default it has been set as main activity. So let's just leave it, and we are going to click on finish. Alright, so our new project has started, and we are up and ready to create our first app. This will take some time to settle in. As you can see in the bottom, the greater build is running. In the meantime, we can see our source code here. As you can see here, there are two classes that has been opened. First is your main.xml, and second is main activity.java. So this is the place where we are going to put all the source code, and where we are going to manage all the things. And this is the place for our UI, how we are going to design our app. As you can see here, when I click on this design, a new activity has opened. So let's get started. So first we are going to put a simple button. This is hello world, which has been set by default. We don't need this, so we can remove this simply by clicking on it and pressing delete here. First we are going to change the background. So in order to change the background, you need to click on the layout which you are currently in, and go to background. Now there are plenty of options, whichever you want to choose. Now we're going to set the color of the background. So let's just keep it to something like orange, and just okay. So as you can see, the background has been changed. Now we are going to drag a button from here, right from here. Now it's important to add constraints to the button, because constraints are something which is going to keep your button settled. So when your device is going to change, means if you are going to use a device of 5-inch screen or 5.5-inch screen, so in all those cases your button won't move from the place where you have settled. So in order to add constraint, we all need to simply place it something like that. We can add constraint to the boundaries or the edges. Here we can check the constraints of the button like that. Now you can see here the constraint from button to the top is 8, so we can change it to something like 0, like so. You can change the width and height of the button. You can change simply by clicking here, and then you can resize it according to like that, or you can also change the height and width of the button from here. So we are going to simply do a wrap content here. We can change the text on the button from this position. We can simply click, edit as click, and there is something called ID. So ID is something which will be used in writing the source code. So this is the button place. Alright, so let's head. There are plenty of other properties, whichever you like to change, you can change from here in this palette. So in order to make this button work, first we need to go to main activity. Now we are going to create a class. Let's just call it private button. We are simply going to call it button. This is the field which we have created. Now in order to find this field, all we need to do is to use the drawable portion of the button. We can simply do button equal to, we need to typecast here button, find view by ID, r.id.button, which we have got there. Now in order to make our button work, all we need to do is we are going to simply create an on-click listener method. In order to create an on-click listener method, all we need to do is button. This button is not in the scope, so we have to write here button dot set on click listener. You can see the Android Studio is helping us. You can simply double click here, view.onClickListener. So this is going to open a method, and whatever we want to create here, we can simply create by writing our code now. Now in order to make that button work, we need to create an intent. Intent is a class, and we need to create an object of the class. Here simply write intent. Now we're going to create the object which is named as intent equal to new intent, like so. Now we are going to pass two parameters. First parameter would definitely be the activity in which we are currently working in. So currently we are working in main activity, so we are going to pass this parameter as main activity dot this. Next is the activity which we want to open. So let's call the activity which we want to open as second activity. Second activity dot class, like so. And let's just create start activity, like there. We're going to pass the context here, intent. As you can see, there is an error here. That's because of the fact that we have not created the second activity class. Now in order to create the second activity class, all we need to do is go down here. We need to create the activity class by going to activity. We're going to choose an empty activity again. This is the place we're going to rename. Let's just call it second activity. So we are going to just call this second activity. Click on finish. So new activity has been created, and as you can see, the error here has disappeared. So we can definitely add some new things to this activity too. We can change the background and everything of this activity. So we can change the background as you have seen earlier. Like so. Like that, as you can see the background has changed. So that's pretty much it. Now we need to launch our app. In order to launch our app, you need to start an Android emulator. Now you can create an emulator by clicking on this icon here. This is going to open a new pop-up window. Now you can see, in order to create, I have got 3 emulators already created. Now if you don't have an emulator, you can click on create virtual device. Now from there you can create an emulator. After your emulator has been created, you need to run this app. You need to simply click here and get started. Choose the emulator which you want to choose. If you want to choose this or anyone which you are having, simply click on OK. So as you can see, the emulator has come and we are waiting for the Gradle build to complete. After the Gradle build will complete, we can start our activity. The app will launch in this emulator. You can see that it says that installing APKs. Now the activity will be launched, and there we go. So here we go, we have created our first app, and when we click on this, a new activity will open. Now you can see there, go back here, and like so you can add many features to this. So yeah.